If you owe the IRS money, should you just pick up the phone and give them a call? Well, that sounds like the responsible thing to do, right? I owe someone money, they let me know, I give them a call and I try to work it out. Well, the reality is with the IRS and with tax debt, it's a situation where doing so might be a good idea, and it might be something that just makes your tax situation worse. In this video, I'm going to cover when calling the IRS might make sense, when it might hurt you, particularly if you owe over $50,000, and what you should do if you are going to call the IRS, what steps you should take first. My name's Bob Jablonski. I'm a certified tax resolution specialist. I help taxpayers nationwide, especially those with large balances, deal with IRS problems all the time. And one of the most common questions I get is, can I, or should I just call them myself? And like I said, the answer to that question is maybe, and we'll talk more about it. Most people want to call the IRS because, they want answers. They want to stop notices and they fear levies and liens and things like that. And they want to show they're being responsible taxpayers. They want to show they're being proactive. And I do understand that. And the IRS seems like a problem that should be solved with a phone call, right? But here's the reality. The IRS is not a customer service agency. It's a collection agency. They're not there to be your friend. They're there to collect the tax debt. They're not there to cheat you or to treat you badly, at least in most cases, but they're also there to do a job and get the tax problem solved for their employee. So when is calling the IRS okay? Well, there are some situations where calling the IRS yourself probably makes sense. Maybe you owe a small amount, let's say under $10,000, and it'll be really easy to get into like a guaranteed installment agreement. Or you need to just set up a basic payment plan. You know what you need to pay. It's not a problem. You can get that set up with no problem and I'll make those payments based on your income. And once again, it's usually going to be when you owe a small amount. And that might be a good time to just give them a call. Maybe you're just confirming a balance or a notice you received. Keep in mind that when you make that call, they may be asking you questions that you didn't call to ask them, but getting those answers might be necessary in some cases. And then like I said, your case is very simple. You don't owe a lot of money. You can make payments and you don't have any missing returns because missing returns complicates the process. And in those cases, can be quick and it can be efficient. But there's also times when calling can hurt you. Let's say you owe a large amount, for example. Calling the IRS can create problems. The more you owe, the more is at risk for you. Here's why. And here's some reasons. So number one is you may say something that hurts your case. The IRS agent is documenting everything you say. Remember, I said they're not your friend. They're there to collect a debt that's owed to the government. And if you do something that you overstate your ability to pay, or you misstate your income, or you agree to something too quickly, which is commonly something that happens, it can limit your options later and put you in a situation which is just going to cause more stress. Number two is you may agree to the wrong resolution, which, we were alluding to in number one. The IRS's job is to guide you towards fully paying your debt today, first of all. And if you can't, getting into a payment plan that can fully pay your debt over time. And they want to find the fastest way to get their client, the Internal Revenue Service, paid. But the reality is that may not be your best option. Their best option may not be your best option. For example, maybe you qualify for currently not collectible, or a partial pay installment agreement, or even an offer in compromise. While they're not going to tell you you can't do that, they're not going to steer you in that direction. Those options are something that are going to require strategy often, not just a quick phone call. Number three is you don't know the full picture yet. You just got to notice. You don't know a lot of information that you should know before calling the government. Before calling the IRS, you should know, have you filed all your returns? Because the IRS is going to require you're in filing compliance before they put you into a payment arrangement. And when you call, they're going to want to give you a deadline for filing all those returns. You don't know exactly how much you owe. You don't have all of the information about your tax debt typically. You don't know how close you are to the 10-year statute of limitations because that could substantially change the direction you go in to solve your tax problem by knowing the statute of limitations. And you don't know whether enforcement is you're already at risk for levies or you're coming close to it. And if there's an action that you can take to protect yourself. Most taxpayers don't have all of this information before calling the IRS, and that puts them at a disadvantage. Number four is you would never think this, but you may actually trigger enforcement quicker. In some cases, calling the IRS brings your account to the forefront. Maybe there is no active collections going on your account, and you owe several hundred thousands of dollars, and the agent thinks there should be. Well, it could bring it to the forefront. It could get you referred to a revenue officer. It could move you closer to collections and accelerate actions like liens and levies. So what should you be doing before you call the IRS? And here's some things you should be doing. Step one, get your IRS transcripts. That'll help you understand what your true balance is, what years you owe, penalties and interest versus taxes, and so on. You could know by pulling your transcripts what years are missing so that if you call them, you've either filed your returns already or you know how long it's going to take you to get them filed. So if you make a promise, you can keep that promise. And you'll know where you are in the collection timeline and if you're already at risk for levies and for enforcement, or if it's coming up and what action you can take to protect yourself. Number two is you could start pulling your information, your income, your expenses, and you could take a look at what your inflows and outflows are monthly, which the IRS is going to ask you, especially in large cases, or when you want something like a PPIA, an offer in compromise, or a currently not collectible status. You're going to have your income and expenses. You're going to have your actual expenses. And then you want to take a look at, well, what does the government actually allow me for these expenses? Are they going to allow me my full amount or just a part of my amount? And based on that information, what does all this information mean to the IRS? How are they going to interpret it as to what can I pay? Also, am I an enforcement risk and what can I do to protect my rights and protect myself in the collection process? And then based on all of this information, what's my best solution to move forward? And so number three, when you're at this point, you can choose the right strategy now, right? You now know what you owe, when you owe, what you have to, your compliance responsibilities. You know what you can pay the IRS and what they're most likely going to be looking for from you. And so to summarize, should you call the IRS yourself? Well, the answer is if your case is simple, you don't owe a large amount, you know what you have to pay, everything's been filed, the answer is probably yes, it's not a problem. Or if you have a complex case or you owe a large amount, well, be very careful before calling them because one phone call can lock you into a bad plan. And perhaps there's a much better option out there which will cost you thousands of dollars less and a bad plan that you can't afford will put you in a situation which may cause you to default and cause you just bigger headaches and more problems. So if you owe the IRS $50,000 or more and you're not sure what to do next, I offer consultations where I'm going to review your situation with you. I'm going to help you identify your best options, and then we're going to find the best solution for you to avoid costly mistakes. You can schedule a call using the link below or in the description. Also, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and in the comments below, let me know if you have any quick questions regarding your IRS problem or if you have any thoughts on future videos.